everybody, welcome back. This is my first video where I'm actually just going to be talking to you about a deck that I use and giving you some background on why I use it, where I found it, all of that. So this is just a time for us to talk together and for me to give you a little bit of background on why I use the Starman Tarot. So it was about 2 months ago. I was walking through Gothenburg, which is where I live here in Sweden, and there's one that I know of, one brick and mortar rainbow shop, you know, like these rainbow booksellers where they sell books and crystals and incense and smudge and dream catchers and cards. And so I really want to always spend my money locally and for small businesses as much as possible. And so I just had in my head that I needed to get a new tarot deck, and it had been a while and it was just time. So I found myself walking into the store and I saw this, I think it was like an angel based tarot deck, and it really caught my eye and I was like, oh yeah, that's the one I really want. And so I reached back into the case where this angel deck was and I pulled it out, and when I pulled it out, it was so cool. It revealed the Starman Tarot deck, which this is what the box looks like. And I just saw these colors, and then I saw this image, or I guess it was facing me this way. I saw this image, this outline of David Bowie. And it was so funny because I was like, no, that's the one. The song Starman had been going through my head for, I want to say, weeks before, where, you know, when you get that song that just keeps going through your head, and it just kept being that chorus where it was like, he's a starman waiting in the sky. So I saw this and I was like, oh my gosh, that's the one. That's why I keep hearing the Starman. And also the designer or the publisher, it's Loscarabeo. And the scarab beetle has special meaning for me too, because I've felt really on this journey for me. The goddess Isis from ancient Egypt has really been front and center with me. And so whenever I see like a scarab beetle, I think of Isis. Like, it's kind of her way of letting me know, like, I'm here, I've got you. So when I saw that on the top of the box, when I pulled it up, I was like, okay, so it's not only this song that I've been hearing over and over and over again, and now it's suddenly in front of me, but it's also like Isis giving me the message as well, like, hey, get this one. There's no doubt, there should be no doubt in your mind. And this was around the time when I had really started thinking and planning and having that push to really step into my YouTube reading business and to go from go from doing my face-to-face readings or doing my Skype readings with people that I knew or recommendations, and really open this up, crack this open so that way I could share it with more people, because I just really felt the call from the divine feminine and from Isis. And on my journey, it was just suddenly this undeniable calling that was saying, you need to share this with more people. More people need your medicine. And so getting this Starman Tarot cards deck, it felt like this was almost like my key to that passage as well, that this was my new deck. This is what I was going into. And when I started doing my readings, I was just really focusing on oracle cards, because I felt like I could read that more intuitively, and that the tarot, it's a system. And so it's, you know, this card means this and this card means that, and da, da, da. And there is interpretation with tarot. I don't want to say that there's not, but for me, it felt much more rigid, that yes, I can use my intuition, but I'm really focusing on the energy that has been implanted or imprinted on the cards. And so, I had really been reluctant to be reading with tarot on my YouTube channel. But then I had unboxed this Starman Tarot right after I had bought the deck from this rainbow bookstore, and I think it's actually called the Rainbow Bookstore, in case you are in Sweden. And I'll link it down below in the description, because I would love to give them more business. They've been really helpful for me. But so when I unboxed this deck, you know, it's these tall black cards. They're not too wide. And I loved, like, you know, this kind of imagery where it was a little bit electronica on it. But when I started looking at the devils on the bottom of the deck, of course. But so when I started looking at the images on the cards, I mean, these were deep images. There's a lot of images of fetuses that jumped out at me, a lot of just intense imagery. And when I was looking through the deck, I was like, whoa, this is intense. Like, this is a lot to take in. This isn't, I'm not trying to like downplay other decks and say like, you know, it's not the man in the boat with 8 wands around him, you know, where it's just a cloaked person. Like this 8 of wands, you know, it's something crazy going on. I don't even know right off the top of my head, but it's just like this devil, he's the devil. Like, this is very intense energy for me. And I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay. Why was I guided to buy this deck? This is a lot to take in. But I just felt like the message was coming through. Okay, leave it for a little while, like get comfortable with the idea of using this deck, because I was supposed to be using it. Like, I was drawn to it for a reason. I bought it for a reason. And I even had a moment where I was like, I'm going to sell this deck to somebody or give it away, because it just felt like it was too much once I unboxed it and like felt all this energy coming off these cards. But I took my time. I set it to the side. I took my time. I started my channel. And then I think it was maybe the second week or so after I'd started the channel and I was doing my readings with the oracle cards, when something just flipped for me. And I was really trying to fit into this character unknowingly. Like, I was trying to fit into this character of the persona that I saw other readers on YouTube embodying, where it's like, you're serious, you're a guide, you know your stuff, there's no hesitation. Everything was, you know, really like these people were really well seasoned. They gave me the impression like, you know, they'd been reading for 30 years or something. And I really tried to fit into that character. That's just the best way I can say it, or that personality, where I was like, I have to be serious, I have to really pull it in. And then there was one reading where I really felt called. I was like, I'm going to pull 3 Starman Tarot cards just to get the theme of the reading. And it's, you know, I'll just have them out so that way it gives me an idea of what the reading is going to be about, or it helps clarify the images or the messages that were coming through, that come through intuitively for me, like while I'm tuning into your energy and while I'm shuffling the cards and getting ready. And a lot of the time, like, I never thought of myself as clairaudient. I will also do another video about the clairs to explain that, like clairvoyance, clairsentience, clairaudience. I never viewed myself as a clairaudient. That's somebody who gets messages by hearing them. But I always get songs stuck in my head. Or I have conversations with like my inner self, you know, sometimes like, should I do this? Should I do that? And I started realizing, like, there was one reading where I pulled out the cards and I started using the Starman Tarot cards, and it just like cracked me out of my shell. It cracked me out of that character. And it was like, stop trying to be that person. That is not your authentic self. That is not how you read. That is not the energy of your reading. That's not how you get in the flow. I get in the flow. I'm getting in the flow now. Like, you can hear the difference of my voice, of my energy when I'm talking about, you know, being in my flow, being in my energy. And that is like singing a song out loud. That is laughing. That is getting serious when I have to be serious. Like, but going with the energy that's flowing through me and just seeing how that shows up, and not having it be scripted, not having me playing some part, not having me being some oracle guide in the way that other people gave me the impression that I needed to be, or the way that my ego gave me the impression that I needed to be viewed as professional. And so like something, it just felt like this actual Starman symbol, you know, that David Bowie symbol of that lightning bolt, or, you know, like the lightning bolt over his eye, that's what happened. It was almost like I got a lightning bolt through my eyes, where it was like, no, you need to do you, and you need to, people need your medicine. The world needs your medicine. And so that's always why now, for now at least, that I'm pulling these Starman Tarot cards. It intimidated me. It was not in my wheelhouse. I felt like, I don't know if I can read this deck. I don't know if this is too much for me. And really, the message came through like, that I'm not too much for the world. I'm what the world needs. And these cards are not too much for me. This is what I need. And this is also part of my practice, is getting comfortable reading this energy, letting the messages come through for you and for me. And so it just feels like that journey with this deck has been so divinely guided, and that even though I was resisting coming out of my shell, resisting showing up as myself in this world for you, resisting sharing my authentic medicine, resisting the power of these cards and feeling like I wasn't capable or I wasn't worthy of connecting with this energy because it was too much for me, that I was too small for it. And it really just taught me such a lesson, and I'm so grateful for that. So I'm going to take a moment and just pull 3 cards, because that feels right now. I wasn't planning on pulling cards, but I feel like I'm going to get some clarity on this message. Yeah, Ace of Cups, follow your intuition, because there's something really beautiful that's ready to be blooming, and your cup will overflow. But it's like, follow your intuition, follow the guidance that you're receiving. Also, okay, so we'll take a second one. There's also something, judgment, discernment. Hold on, I dropped a card. I dropped 4 cards. Oh no. This judgment card, he always reminds me, like, you have the power of discernment. And this, for me, it was like the discernment of not fitting. Like, I was afraid of the judgment of other people by showing up as myself. And this journey and these cards really helped me break out of that to become more authentically myself, stepping out into the world and shining my light. And his arms are out and he's like, powerful. But that's what it is. Like, my power comes from stopping worrying about the judgment of others and stopping worrying about my own judgment of myself. As a personal note, because I just feel called to share this, I was working at a job in a it was a software company. I was working at a job in a software company, and this whole awakening happened where it was like, why am I trying to fit myself into that world when I so clearly belong in this one, and sharing this medicine and sharing myself with you and sharing this energy with you and sharing clarity with you. I have more to offer the world than working at a software company. And when I made that decision, it just really, it shook me, and I wasn't sure how to tell people in that world about what I was doing. And I wasn't sure how to show up as my authentic self. And on my last day of work, I shared with my team that I was going to be doing this full time and that I was pursuing this. And I'll just say that there was like a situation where there was mockery and judgment coming through, and I felt that very heavily, but I met it in its face. And it was one of my coworkers who was reading a paragraph about Reiki healing from my website out loud to the whole group. And I just said, yep, that's what I do. And that felt like the strongest moment for me, was looking judgment that I'd feared for so long, looking judgment in the eye and staring it down and just standing in my truth. And I believe that everybody has the power to do that. And we're all at different places on our journeys. But I want to also share my journey authentically, to also give you permission. Sometimes we need permission from someone else to give permission to ourselves. So this is me giving you permission to give yourself permission to show up as yourself and to look judgment in the eye. I'm going to pull one more card. This video is ending up being longer than I anticipated, but that's not up to me. The third one came out, the Hierophant. And this is like the male counterpart of the High Priestess. And I hear a lot of people saying like the High Priestess is the female counterpart to the Hierophant, but I want to flip that on its head. This is the leader, the faith-based leader. And so he's just telling me, like, sit in your seat of power. You need to have faith in yourself, but you're the only one who can know your truth authentically. And so you have to find that truth for yourself and then sit in it as though it's a throne, as though you guide from that seat. And this is just really powerful. I love that these 3 cards came out during this video. But I'm so glad that you joined me for this today. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a comment below. I am kind of toying around with different types of videos that I can post besides just the readings. And thank you so much to Loscarabeo for publishing this Starman Tarot, because it's really changed my life. But I'll see you later, and thank you so much. Bye!